It appears that Iran has gone ahead and done its due with its missiles fired at the two military bases there in Iraq on yesterday, last evening, whatever the time it was in our time and their time. And let's see if that's the end of all of this tension going on in the Middle East and what will happen from here. The big question now, of course, that after surveying throughout the night the reports on damage, casualties, etc., did the Iranian people, did the Khomeini and the military forces of Iran take Dr. Manning's advice when he advised them to stand down and to not strike and not retaliate? Because if they do, they're only going to cause oceans of blood to flow. And Tribulation Trump doesn't really care. He's protected. He ain't gonna die. You can't kill him. He's well insulated. He don't care even if his children, everybody else die around him. American soldiers, young boys from Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, New York, Massachusetts, California, Seattle, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, all those young boys can die and go to hell. Trump don't care in the military. But you won't be able to kill him. You won't be able to get to him. He and Melania will continue to do what they do, snort their cocaine and do their due. But you can't kill him. And he don't care about nobody else's son or child. And so I advise the Iranian people, I advise them, don't retaliate. And not only that you can't kill, you won't be able to get to him, you just can't get to him. You can't nuke him. But not only that, but what he wants to do is that he wants a war so it can take people's mind off of the impeachment that's going on. And now John Bolton is talking about he wants to testify. And, things don't look good. I'm telling you, if you let witnesses come before the Senate, and Mitch McConnell, Mr. Turkey Neck himself, gobble, 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 Mitch McGobble, gobble, gobble, Connor, that's what we call him, Mitch McGobble, gobble, Connor. If you let witnesses testify, they're going to impeach Trump. I'm telling you, there'll be 90 senators, mark my word. There'll be 90 senators that will vote to impeach that boy. Because when the world finds out how dirty Trump is, how psychopathic, crazy he is, they won't be able to say, we're standing with our president. He ain't Republican. He ain't our president. This man's a psychopath. So did Iran take Dr. Manning's advice? That's the question. I'm talking in third person now. I raised it. Did they? Because it appears, and the foreign minister said, well, that's what we've done, et cetera. And we'll talk about the potential of that being an off-ramp for Trump to not retaliate and just let this matter die. Well, that's the question. Did the Iranian people take Dr. Manning's advice from Saturday in the pulpit of power, and then this past Monday when I spoke that again, and I reinforced the fact that don't do it. Don't give Trump the opportunity to quash the impeachment hearings and to be reelected, because America is not going to re-elect a new president in the middle of a global war. They're not going to do it. And that's what Trump wanted. That's what Trump was, and he was going to use the blood of literally tens of thousands of American young men and women to get reelected as president. That's how despicable he is. But I have to tell you, he's not the only one that ever thought about that. Obama thought about doing the same thing. Bill Clinton thought about doing the same thing. I think they thought about it, but I think there was no commitment in Obama, no commitment in Bill Clinton to really do it. I mean, Ronald Reagan did it, George Bush did it, George Bush second, little George, went into Iraq and then said the mission was accomplished. It didn't care about the number of people that died in the Iraqi war, the millions of Iraqis that were killed, the thousands of American soldiers that were killed. Little George Bush, little George, not the big George Bush, but the little George Bush, right? One of the most horrific military blunders in modern times. Little George Bush went into Iraq, right? And he didn't care about the people that died. He just wanted to be popular and win the re-election and on and on and on. So he did it. So that don't make Tribulation Trump the world's worst person to have done that. They'll all do it if they get an opportunity. But the thing of it is that we said, don't do it. I gave the advice of don't do it. It appears, now we don't know, it appears, however, that they did not take my advice. It appears Now, they didn't take my advice. I don't even, listen, let me tell you something. Can I go, you shoot, it's just the two of us. We can talk. I can talk to you. I think you know me. We can, listen, they ain't heard nothing about what I said. The people over there in Iran ain't heard my videos. They haven't heard about that. Ain't nobody told them. Maybe Trump knows. Maybe some snitch told Trump what I said, right? But the Iranian people, they don't know nothing about what they said. They haven't heard me. They didn't take my advice. Come on, let's get real now. I mean, let's keep it real. They didn't take my advice. Well, of course, I thought it was good advice. I'm not saying they didn't take it because I didn't think it was good advice. I thought it was good advice. They just didn't take it. I don't even heard anything about me over there in Iran. Probably not. Well, then you say, well, Dr. Mannings, well, my God, if they didn't take your advice, it looks like they did something on the order. Let me tell you what they did. Well, Tribulation Trump is going to be speaking at the top of the hour, right? I have no idea what that idiot's going to say. But it ain't over. If you think those missiles that were sent to the two bases there in Baghdad, in Iraq rather, and missed their target and didn't kill any Americans, I'm not sure that they did not. But listen, here, they didn't take my advice, but the advice I gave them, they already knew. Don't give Trump re-election. Don't cause the blood of the Iranian people to flow in the streets of Iran and the blood of Muslims, the son of Hagar, to flow all over the Middle East, and then Trump will get reelected. Don't do it. Don't do it. Even Nancy Pelosi said, going back a year ago, don't even impeach Trump because it's not worth it to divide America. He isn't worth it. He isn't worth it. Don't impeach him, though she had to do so with that phone call to Zelensky. Let me pull you up close one more time. Let me help you understand something. The Ayatollahs, the Iranians understood this. If they retaliated with the strength that they're able to retaliate with, had gone ahead and, did the do, Trump would get reelected and there'd be no impeachment. Because America's not going to impeach his president nor remove him from office if there's a major war going on and blood is flowing like the Tigris River. They're not going to, Americans, that's how Americans are. We're going to rally around the flagpole no matter what. And Trump will get reelected in November of this year. And so they're smart enough not to do that. No, they're not through with Trump. Listen, over 50 people were crushed in a stampede in the funeral procession of Qassem Soleimani yesterday. They're not through with Trump. You got to be out your mind if you think that's all the Iranians going to do. First of all, they also understand that Trump's an idiot and that he doesn't have wise counselors around him. You have to understand something about the Iranian people, the sons of Hagar, going back 4,000 or 5,000 years. Trump has an administration and cabinet officers. Supposedly, they're supposed to be able to tell him on issues of defense, issues of economy, issues of national security, war generals who understand the processes of war, who've studied the various tactics of war. But the Ayatollahs and the Iranians are people with a history. We're a young nation. We're only 243 years old. Iran is a nation 5,000 years old. And going all the way back to the days of Nebuchadnezzar and Persia, and going back to the days of Imhotep, and going back to the days when the Iranian and Persian, and when actually that part of the world was the cradle of civilization. The civilization in the Garden of Eden is on the corners of the northwest corners of the Tigris and the Euphrates River. You can read it right in the Bible. It's right here in the Bible. On the Tigris and the Euphrates River is the cradle of civilization, and in that particular cradle, where civilization itself was born, are the Iranian people, are the Hamite people, the sons of Hagar. That's why civilization. That's where people began to walk upright and to write and to understand and to form governments within that particular region. These are not dumb people in that regard. They may not have advanced the way Japheth has advanced in terms of his building and his governments, et cetera, but you're talking about an ancient society with 4,000 years of understanding warfare. You're talking about the processes of a people who use wisdom and understanding. They're not through with Trump. They just ain't gonna give him the presidency. He wants a war so he can get the presidency. That's the only way he can get it. Trump wants a war, and they know it, and they're not gonna give it to him. But they're not through with America. They're not through with. They have not avenged the death of Qasem Soleimani. They're not through with that. They're not through with that. But they just aren't gonna give Trump the presidency, and rightly so. That's what he wants. He wants a war, but they're not going to give it to him. Now, the issue is, I was explaining to Elder Butler the other day, is that Trump, if somebody's going to tell Trump, or he might hear me because I know he listens to me, and he might continue to jug at the Iranians till he gets a war. But the balance now, if the Iranians have demonstrated, we got the missiles, homie, we can blow y'all out the water. We got missiles that will travel 800 to 1,000 miles with a warhead on it that will blow your boys out the water. We can do it. We just landed them outside of the gates of your fort just to show you we can come up and knock on the door. That's what we did. We knocked on the door, but we didn't decide to come in. But we can come in if we want. That's what they want you to do. So Trump is going to continue to jug at them. And then somebody's going to say, wait a minute. Trump is trying to send our boys into death. Trump is trying to send our young boys and girls in the military to a death that's not necessary. Because if we fight Iran, the Jews are going to die in Jerusalem. They're going to die in Haifa. They're going to die in Tel Aviv. They're going to die in Dubai. The Middle East is going to flow with blood all the way to the length of a horse's bridle. And Trump will then be president. He just don't give a damn about how many people it'll take to die. Trump don't give a damn about how many white and black boys will die in the military so he can become president again. He don't care. You can see he didn't care about Russia meddling. He don't, and the only way he can become president again is with a war. They said, we're not going to give it to him. We'll show him that we can come up to the door and knock on the door with our missiles. And they fired 12 of them, or maybe 13 just for good measure. We'll show him. We can come up to the door. We can knock on the door. We can hit your ships out at sea. You got those ships, you and that boy over there, that Boris Johnson boy over yonder in Europe and England. Y'all got them ships out there in the Persian Gulf. We can hit them ships. We can hit them. We can hit them. We can mine them. We can land mine them. But we're not going to do it. Not now. Not now. We ain't going to give Trump no president. Once Trump is out of office, we'll see what we're going to do. But we're not going to give. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a nuclear bomb. That's what we're going to do instead. And we're going to name the project the Qasem Soleimani Project. We're going to make a nuclear bomb. And we're going to put up a monument to the Qasem Soleimani. And we're going to keep the tension so high that Saudi Arabia will begin to sell out and pay us money to protect them from America, because Trump can no longer do it. We're not going to give you a war. The ancient wisdom of a 4,000-year-old society compared to a 243-year-old society said, we're not going to give you a war. We ain't going to give it to you. That's what you want, you ain't getting it. Now, you're going to get something, but it ain't going to be. I read an article the other day where the ISIS boys, not the Khomeini boys in Iran, the ISIS boys are saying, go out west and start fires. Go out, I'm out in California every year, and sometimes I'm in Lake Tahoe, and they have the Smokey Bear up there that says, fire warning today is high. Don't drop a cigarette, don't drop a match, don't even strike a stone against one another, because you can start a fire. And once those fires start out there in California, it's hard to put them out. The ISIS boys are saying, go out there and drop your cigarettes in the forest and then run. And I'm not spreading tactics against America. That's not what I'm doing. I'm telling you what, it's reported, and people who are up to snuff in the news knows that the ISIS boys and the media is trying to keep people from knowing that, but that's what they're planning. They're planning starting on fire. And you got the fires burning down there in Australia now. And I don't think the ISIS boys started that. I think we're just a part of the the tribulation event that's going on. And I'm very concerned about the fires in Australia because I like the koala bears. I do. I ain't got no business liking animals like them, but I like the koala bear. And I like the kangaroo. I really like the kangaroo. Y'all like kangaroos? I like the kangaroo. Puts his little babies in the pouch and he runs. Then the kangaroo can box too. You ever box with a kangaroo? They'll knock the living daylight. They'll stand on 2 feet and punch you in the face. Kangaroo. I like the kangaroo. But they're dying down there straight. That fire's down, they're going to burn for the next 10 years if Jesus don't come back down in Australia. But no, they didn't take my advice. They don't even know who I am. But the advice I gave was advice that they have followed because it's just wise. Don't give Trump the presidency. Don't give him a war. Don't cause oceans of blood to run of young soldiers, men and women from America, and dying by the tens of thousands. This idiot, Mike Espy, is that his name? The Secretary of Defense on news yesterday talking about we didn't kill Qasem Soleimani to start a war, but we can show enough end one. That idiot. Do you know that George Bush started a war in Afghanistan 18 years ago? It ain't ended. It ain't over. You didn't end that one. 18 years, the longest war in American history. It ain't over. They started a war in Iraq. It ain't over in 2003. That one ain't over either. This idiot, Trump must have told him to go out there and say that. Trump told that idiot, Espy, to go out there and say, we can end it. You ain't ending nothing. You can start them. But you can't end you in Afghanistan getting your butt kicked by the Mujahideen up and down the mountains of Afghanistan every day over there. Talking about you going to end something. You know, there has never, not even a little bit of history for some of y'all that ain't up to snuff. You know, Saladin fought against Richard the Lionheart. Richard the Lionheart had the same kind of idea that Trump had. Well, I'm going to let you know that. But Richard the Lionheart had marched a 10,000-man army out of London, crossed the English Channel, down through Spain, and down into France, and across the Mediterranean, and into Israel. Richard the Lionheart, right? And to fight against Saladin, who had taken over in the Middle Ages, taken over Jerusalem in Israel, right? And Saladin whooped the living daylights out of him. He came back ultimately after Saladin's death and was able to regain the capital. But, you know, what I want to point up is that there have not been a lot of winning battles against the Muslims. You know, the Russians, first the French went in the 1950s. The French, you know, little tweet boys, they got their butts kicked. Russia goes into Afghanistan, spend 10 years in Afghanistan, get their butts kicked, actually caused the dissolution of the USSR, the Russian Empire. They got kicked and they left Afghanistan with their tails between their legs after the French got beaten, the Russians now America went in there, been there for 18 years, and they're getting their butts kicked every day as well. Effectively, there's not been a lot of winning battles against Muslims, against the sons of Hagar. And I'm not here supporting Islamic religion. You know I'm not. At least you ought to know it. But some of y'all are so racist and ignorant. You know, I think you know what I think? Here's what I think, and I'll tell you what I think. I think, really, you got to be brain dead to be. I think you got to be, you know, I think you just got to be ignorant and stupid to support Trump. I think it was, who was it? Was it Sabbath or Elder Smith sent me a note the other day where that fella, remember Jim Baker from Praise the Lord, PTL Club from years ago, he and that girl Tammy Faye, y'all remember her? That idiot. Jim Baker, he and that Tammy Faye woman, right? Said the other day that you must support Trump to show that you're saved. If you don't support Trump, it means you're not saved. I mean, imagine that. So you got to be somewhat of a dimwit. But my point is this, is that no, the Iranians didn't take my advice. They didn't. They don't, you know, they didn't have to. The advice was just good advice. Show Trump and the world, we can walk up and knock on the door. We decided not to come in the house this time. We knocked on the door. We sent our rockets to knock on the door. We could have crossed the green zone and went into the camp there and killed a whole slew of your American soldiers. And that would give Trump the opportunity to arm up his so-called brand new $1 trillion military, put his warplanes in the air, put his ships, and they're going to start firing bombs and planes and tanks and weapons and implements of destruction everywhere they can for the next 2 months. We're not going to give him the opportunity to do that. So what's Trump going to do now? Because he don't know what to do now. What's he going to do? Because Trump wants a war. Trump wants a war, and they won't give him one. The boys over there, sons of Hagar, won't give him what he wants. He wants a war, and they won't give it to him. So he's going to try something. He's going to try something. This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Mannings Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Mannings Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.